Hello and welcome to an album a day, day 55, going through my vinyl collection. So glad that you guys are enjoying this. It seems like more and more people are finding this little series that I'm doing. It's a few minutes out of your day and something interesting could pop up. It might be something that you find you want to add to your own collection or just check out, or it could be an album that you hate. This one I don't think will be an album that you hate. This one is a very important album in my life, both as someone who enjoys music and as a musician. Part of my journey of what interests me so much in concept albums, I actually have two albums I'm doing today because there's a companion piece to it, but actually a companion piece that wasn't for sale that I bought for sale. We're talking, of course, about the 1974 release by Roger Glover, The Butterfly Ball and the Grasshopper's Feast. This album is a children's book, that apparently I can't speak today, that Roger was commissioned to make into a soundtrack that was going to be used for this animated film. Things got a little crazy. They ended up doing one concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and that is available on video. It's a brilliant concert. I wish the whole thing was there. They integrated it into some live action animation, I guess you'd call it, which is people weirdly dressed up in costumes that look, well, let's just say the quality wasn't there, and it was very unfortunate. But the music is fantastic. The concert, amazing. Not everyone who was on the album was able to be in the live show. Ronnie James Dio most notably missing due to touring commitments with Rainbow. Stepping in a very important moment in history, I feel, was Ian Gillan, who had decided that he didn't want to do music anymore. And after this, just walking out on stage, the ovation that he got from appearing for the first time after leaving Deep Purple kind of changed his world a little bit. He said, "I've got it wrong." He went home, he wrote a few songs that night, just got right back into it, formed a new band, and started into music again. So I find this album really created a very pivotal moment in music history. The copy that I have is part of my Purple Records collection, and it does not look that great. In fact, the owner of it wrote their name on the label, which, you know, I guess there was a thing about that. I've seen so many records where people wrote their name on it as if, you know, if they lent their records to a friend, their friend wouldn't give them back, or didn't, you know, needed some kind of proof that it was theirs, so they would write their name on it and ruin the value of it, which is unfortunate. There are a couple of marks on the vinyl, but it plays beautifully. It is a little heavy on the crackles, but I don't think that really ruins the experience. But visually, it's not a perfect grade, but it's highly playable. I will probably seek out a second copy at some point, not in a rush though, because the vinyl plays beautifully. If it skipped all over the place or something like that, I would just say, well, it's part of my Purple Records collection, and that's the end of that. But the album itself, as you can see, excellent artwork on both sides. It's the same thing for some reason. But it's a really detailed and intricate, like you can see different creatures are hidden within the greenery and party favors as such. On the inside, we have a little bit of the story. We've got lyrics. It's all in there. Really good stuff. I think it's a generic sleeve though. Let me double check. I didn't look at this beforehand. Yes, just a generic sleeve, but you can see, you know, there is some wear and tear. It's starting to fray a little bit. But here's the thing, this is an original 1974 copy. So I think the fact that it's in this good a shape is, you know, for just finding it out in the world. I found this I want to say I found this, no, I think I ordered this off of Discogs. I was going to say I found it at the Antique Mall, but I don't think I did, because it's very unlikely I would have found a Purple Records copy, which was only issued in Europe at the Antique Mall, although always possible. You never really know. But that is the Butterfly Ball album proper, and I would highly suggest go watch the live concert. It's absolutely amazing, but there's so many great people on here. Deep Purple alumni, David Coverdale, Glenn Hughes. You've got from Rainbow, you've got Ronnie James Dio singing a couple songs. In fact, Love Is All, which was the single, very similar to All You Need Is Love. In fact, it was inspired by that song by the Beatles, was released as a single. There is one song that I don't think is on this album version. I have to look now because I don't think it was. I think it was omitted from this and it was in a concert. I think that was the big thing. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice this until it just hit the light. I don't know where Worsley Menzies is in Wigan, but that's where this album is from. So they wrote their whole address on the album cover. Chances of them living there now are probably pretty slim. But anyway, let's see. There was a song. Yes, it is not on this version of the album, but it's called Little Chalk Blue. The vocals were done by John Lawton, who Roger recommended to Uriah Heep, and he joined them for 3 albums after David Byron was fired from the band. And so again, like another thing that came from this that kind of spawned a big bit of music history. Those albums are fantastic. John Lawton, amazing singer. We lost him a few years ago. But yeah, lots of great people on this. Eddie Harden, just all kinds of people. It's an amazing cast. And of course, the whole thing spearheaded by none other than bass player of Deep Purple and Rainbow, Roger Glover. The second album that we're going to talk about is a very interesting companion piece that I didn't even know until last year existed. And as soon as I found it, I snapped it up right away, got a great deal on it on eBay in excellent condition. And this, of course, would be, boom, we're talking about the Roger Glover's Butterfly Ball Radio Special. This is very cool. This is an interview with Roger talking about how it came together, some of the songs, and then you have cuts of the individual tracks right on the album. So everything kind of relates. This is issued on UK Records, which is interesting. I don't think I have anything else on this label. Never even knew they existed. So that's one of the fun things about doing this, is finding all these little gems that don't exist. Because, you know, growing up, we had certain 45s, a lot of them under the same label, whether they were Buddha Records or RCA. And you kind of just thought, okay, well, these are the record companies. And as I've expanded to getting different, like, European versions of records and things, it's been kind of cool to see all these different labels and then have them in my collection. Now, this is very clearly a promo copy. This is not for sale, as you can see. Not for sale, in case you weren't sure. You would be if you saw that. Also on the album itself, it does say, I believe, let's see, I'll flip it around so you can read it. Promotional copy, not for sale. So it even says it right on the record. If I got my finger in the right spot, there you go. Just in case you were wondering or didn't believe me, like I would make anything like that up. So on the back, because this is not, you know, something that you would get in a record store, you've got the front. On the back, you got nothing. Miniature version of the album cover, which is really nice. Just a plain font. You know, again, this is going out to radio stations, promos, stuff like that. But you do actually get a bit of a sleeve. It's not related to the album itself, but this is what it came with. Obviously, just pure promo. And interesting, on the inside, you have an article called Buyer's Bulletin, Tape Piracy is Everyone's Problem. They didn't even see digital coming at this time. I mean, this is 1974, so we didn't even have home computers yet, let alone the internet or MP3s or, you know, anything like that. We well, we had cassettes. I think we had cassettes already by 74, but I mean, that's as close as it got. You could also tape right off of your record. If you had one of those stereos that had a cassette player, typically you could record the record. But anyway, on the backside, so there's the article on the dreaded tape piracy. I like how this is broken down by genre too. This is kind of nice. Although we've got connoisseur series, which wouldn't necessarily mean anything until you read who's on here, including like Edith Piaf, rock. You've got Bachman Turner Overdrive. You've got Captain Beefheart, Gentle Giant, Greenslade, which I've never heard. Hartsfield, like there's all these ones that I don't know of. So, I mean, obviously these are people that are on this record label, UK Records, but you've got Rod Stewart, you've got Rush. So, I mean, you know, there's some known people on, Uriah Heep, Under Rock. You've got Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards, and Uriah Heep Live, and Uriah Heep, The Magician's Birthday, along with Thin Lizzy, Nightlife, which is interesting because they're both managed by the same manager now. In 74, I don't think that was the case. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. So it's kind of neat that, you know, whatever your genre is, you get this. But remember, this was not for public consumption. This was going out to radio stations. So they might look at this and go, oh, you know what? We need to get more Rod Stewart in here. Let's get some Uriah Heep since this is by the same label. Let's reach out and see what they have for promo that they'll give us. So great opportunity there. I don't know why they're sending piracy articles to DJs, because people could also, if you had a cassette on your AM/FM tuner, which would be part of a component stereo. I don't know how much of that they had in '74, but you could also just tape right off the radio. I used to do it all the time because there were songs that I would want to get and I didn't have money. So until I could afford to get them, I would tape them off the radio, make these little compilation tapes to listen to. And that's where actually some of my episodes for Haskincast podcast came from, where I'm doing song collections like non-Christmas songs, because those are the songs that I was listening to or that were getting radio play around the time I was doing Christmas shopping or whatever. So a lot of it came from the radio back then. Of course, now the radio still exists, but not in the way that it did before. That was how you found new music. And now it's just all over the place and almost too much. Is very oversaturated. So that reminds me, plug for my new album, Mental Sauna 6, Warm Chill. Go check that out. Thank you, Corey Morissette, for the shout out on And the Podcast Will Rock last night. I think that episode comes out tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow. But as a Patreon subscriber, I get access to the live stream. So we recorded that last night. Lots of fun. Great show, too, if you're a fan of Van Halen or any of the solo career offerings from David Lee Roth, Wolfgang Van Halen, Extreme, any of that kind of stuff. But they've gone through the entire Van Halen catalog, tons of episodes in the back catalog for you to check out. It's amazing. I love the show. Not a fan at all of Van Halen, I've learned from the show. A couple songs I like, but for the most part, just not a Van Halen fan. But I enjoy the banter, and it's all friends, so that makes it nice. But anyway, my heater's kicked on because it's freaking cold here in Oklahoma, and I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for another day of an album a day. Cheers.